I don't know about you guys, but February is just always such a weird month. I like using the decks, but for something about the consistency of using like one card is just so satisfying. Hi. Hello. Welcome back to my witch obsession. And in today's video, we will be talking about, or in today's pick a card reading video, there we go. I was like, that didn't come out correctly. We are going to be talking about how can you let go of resentment? Why are you resentful? And the reason I'm doing this is because as somebody with so much fixed in their chart, we all have fixed in our chart, but for me, like for those who have even more of it, it's just like it makes it so hard to let go of things. And when that happens, resentment. And if you aren't resentful, then, or if you don't really feel as if though you are resentful, this video, not gonna be for you. It's just that simple. And there's plenty of other videos that I have uploaded that you will enjoy without the heavy attitude. And that is okay. And in fact, I'm proud of you for not being resentful. But if you admit to yourself that you are resentful, I'm also proud of you. So, like, literally, it's so bad. Like, I have Scorpio Sun, Taurus Moon, then I have a Scorpio Mercury and Venus, and then I have a Leo Jupiter, and then I have an Aquarius, Neptune, and Uranus. It's just all over the place. So much fixed. That isn't even considering my houses. Anyways, today we have 4 piles here, and we have some crystals. So for pile 1, we have this blue sodalite. I like saying sodalite. It's probably not how you pronounce it, but I just like saying it that way, so I don't know. And then for pile 2, we have this labradorite. And then for pile 3, we have this opalite. And for pile 4, we have this citrine. My hands are kind of dry. Don't say anything. I probably didn't even notice. But yeah, those are the piles. So if you have chosen yours, the timestamps will be in the description box as always. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, especially if the reading resonates with you. And yeah, tell me what fixed signs you have in your chart. What fixed placements? Because I'm always curious, I'm always curious who is watching. Anyways, if you've chosen your pile, see you at your reading. But if you want to listen to me ramble for a couple seconds, no, like a minute or two, there we go, then hi. Oh my gosh, you guys, literally, so it's Thursday while I'm filming this, and when I tell you yesterday was like such a heavy day, and I found out why. It's because we had a Scorpio moon squaring off of the Aquarius sun. And I was like, I read that this morning. I was like, girl, that explains why these past few days have felt so funky. And then there was that whole Pluto conjunct Mercury thing. I was like, girl, can we leave Scorpio season in Scorpio season? That's just me though, because honestly, that entire little segment of February felt more Scorpio than Scorpio season. How'd that make sense? Anyways, I also got this new tarot deck for Valentine's Day for my partner. And I was very happy, and I still am, and I'm literally so excited to use it in today's video. And then I have been making TikToks, and I'm very surprised by the amount of people that like the TikToks. I show my face on there, and I was just doing a few. I've only posted 2 readings because I usually just do like a quick reading. But I actually sat down and did a reading on TikTok, and a lot of people liked it. And I was like, wow, you guys, they were like, we love your energy and stuff. I was like, guys, stop. But anyways, not to gas myself up or anything. I'm just kind of feeling myself because yesterday and the days that were following behind it were a little bit offensive, if not horrendous. And I'm happy to announce that today I just woke up in such a good mood, and I leapt out of bed. Literally, I leapt and I opened my blinds and I was like, today's gonna be a good day. And you know what? I'm so excited to do this reading. Even though it is a bit of a heavier topic, I'm just very fascinated because as somebody who carries back-breaking resentment, I'm intrigued to see what comes out. But yeah, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening if you did listen, but see you at your reading. Hello, pile 1. If you chose this blue sodalite, this is going to be your reading for how can you let go of resentment, why are you resentful, and things like that. I guess the why are you resentful part is kind of more like subject, because some of you may know, some of you may not know. We all don't know that. But anyways, I have a few oracle cards here to kind of get the party started. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So for this card, we have first quarter moon in Virgo, assess the situation. Ungrateful daughter and earthly mother. And what is hidden will be revealed. And then for this card, this is just kind of like an affirmation card for you. We have 0. Angels ask for your attention. Open your eyes, listen and think about everything that is happening. Trust your intuition and follow their guidance without any delay. Focus inward through meditation and prayer. I am observant. So I was pretty excited to do this particular pile. I'm excited to do all the piles today, honestly, because this is like my jam, like this reading topic. But I was excited because I honestly feel like pile 1, if you do have like a Virgo moon, you don't have to have a Virgo moon, but what I'm trying to convey here is that I feel like the Virgo moon experience is having a mother that was very difficult and very nitpicky of you. And I feel like this kind of like resentment carries through, and at least with like, I feel like a lot of your resentment stems from a motherly figure or like a maternal figure. And perhaps for some of you, that resentment even carries through to women, and like this inability to talk to women or constantly attracting drama with women and things like that. I'm not picking up on like you just outright like don't like women or like you don't get along with them or something like that. But I feel like for a good majority of you, you've gotten into a lot of drama and gotten into like pretty painful situations with women. And I feel like for some of you, maybe you felt like with this ungrateful daughter and earthly mother card, that's the reason why I'm feeling like this is a mother thing. And I feel like for some of you, you were the earthly mother in the sense that I feel like maybe you really give it your all for women, pile 1. I feel like you're very like service oriented for the women in your life. I feel like you're really, like nice to women, like I don't know how else to explain, like you give so much to women, whether it be money, time, love, advice, patience. I feel like you're constantly like expending your resources to be there for women, and I feel like maybe not all of the time have they reciprocated all of your energy and all of your love and attention. And I feel like as a result of that, like with this I am observant card, I feel like you've picked up on this. I feel like you kind of know what I'm talking about, but I feel like it's something that you've just like had this hunch about, this little thing in the back of your mind, or like this thorn in your emotions that's making you go like, like something's a little suspicious here. You know what I mean, pile 1? I feel like it's something that you felt for a while and you didn't really think too much of it, and you would just think that it was like, oh, like, like maybe I'm just having a bad day or something. And maybe like I feel like you were very prone to self-gaslighting because maybe your mother wasn't like, obviously I'm not going to speak on your relationship with your mother, so pardon me for going that way, but basically what I'm trying to convey here is like, because of, for some of you, maybe because of like relationship with a maternal figure, or like past situations with maybe even like a sister or like a really close girlfriend of yours, something like that. Something, I feel like there was a very monumental or several monumental relationships you had with women that kind of just went downhill or have foregone extreme transformations. And I feel like with the trends you've seen, maybe you feel like you attract problematic women, or you attract women that take advantage of you or something like that. And maybe you feel walked all over by specific women that have like gone through your life. And it's just kind of like with this assess the situation card here. I feel like lately maybe you've really been taking a gauge on like being a parent and being like, if you are a woman, being a mother, being friends with women, all your relationships with women. And I feel like with this what is hidden will be revealed card here, just understand that like you are coming to a pivotal point in your life, is that even a word, where you'll kind of realize that like your relationships with women, including yourself, have had more of an impact on your life than you think. And by improving the talk of yourself and kind of like understanding that, no, like, I just want to say, pile one, like, it is not your fault that women have treated you the way that they've treated you. It is literally not your fault that maybe some of you have been exploited by women in your life, okay? That is not your fault. And it is not your fault for being so giving and so, like, earthly. I feel like you, like, the majority that are watching this pile, you probably have, like, an earthy moon. I know that earth moons have gone through a lot with their mothers, like Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus. I feel like for Capricorn moons, they saw their mother work a lot, set aside their own needs and things like that, put themselves in very self-sacrificing positions, and not really take care of you in the ways that you wanted. Or maybe you had to grow up really fast if you're a Capricorn moon. And then with like a Virgo moon, it's like your mother it was obviously not all moons are bad. There's nothing bad about the moons, but like there can be kind of like a good or bad, scenario. And I feel like that's a very nuanced way of putting it, because it's not that black and white. But like for the majority of you that do carry resentment towards women, like you could have like an interesting moon placement, perhaps even a Scorpio moon. But like Virgo moons, I feel like Virgo moon's the most relevant placement here. Like you could have major Virgo placements in your chart. And I feel like even if you don't have these placements, the themes that I'm kind of laying out here are probably still relevant in this reading. And I feel like Virgo moons, their mother was very nitpicky of them, very critical of them, not there for them in the ways that they wanted their mother to be, But obviously on the flip side, it's like they could have been there in literally every way that they could have ever wanted. And then for Taurus moons, fellow Taurus moons, at least I find that we had mothers that were very tiger mom and kind of overbearing, very nurturing and very sweet, always catered to your material needs, but at the same time was a little bit overly controlling, And, like, I feel like those themes kind of carry through. And I feel like for a lot of you, forgiving yourself for how you've reacted and treated women is a huge part of letting go of resentment, because I feel like you have like this resentment towards yourself and like women in your life. And I feel like a lot of it kind of goes like unsolved or unnoticed, because I feel like you don't really appropriately address how they're making you feel. I feel like this could apply to specific women that are already in your life. And maybe it's like, it definitely is a little bit more gray, because obviously relationships of women and resentment there is a lot more like complicated than like resentment towards men, because resentment towards men and relationships with men are so heavily talked about in today's society, like through like like misogyny, like sexism, and like daddy issues and things like that, like it's so heavily talked about, but like we don't really talk about like mommy issues and things like that. And it's like, pardon me if any of those phrases like made you feel some type of way or like offended you, because I know that for specific people those words can carry a lot of baggage, so I apologize. But I just feel like for you, like, I'm not saying you have mommy issues, pile one, like that's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is I feel like that terminology and like the lack of like conversation revolving around that topic has had an impact on how you perceive your relationship with women, because maybe there just simply isn't enough context for you to kind of get a gauge on why it is that you feel the way you do towards females. And it's just like, I really feel like I could go round and round with this. I feel like pile one, you have been going round and round with this. I feel like this is something that you have been like thinking about for a long time now, and something that you have seen go through your life and like pass through your life in different themes, something that's kind of like stressed you out, and something that has maybe even caused you to be very angry or hateful at some period of your life. You know, I feel like there was a period of your life where you were very angry at all women in your life, extremely pissed off, honestly, like, you know, just like furious. And I'm sensing that for some of you, like, you've kind of let it go, but I feel like it was kind of like a forgive but not a forget type of situation, or vice versa. Maybe you forgot but you haven't forgiven because of just the way your life's gone out, you know? Because it's like, if you do have like earth placements in your chart, major ones, especially within your big three, I feel like through working and through moving along day-to-day life has really helped you kind of let go of the situation, or kind of help put it in a box and tuck it away. But I feel like as of late, there have been themes that have been coming up. Like at the time that you're watching this, I feel like there have been themes coming up that have kind of made you realize, like, hey, yo, like, this ain't okay no more. Like, this is very real. This is very serious, and there is changes going on in my life, and wow, like, this is a theme that I need to address. So yeah, let's get into the tarot. Okay, I'm just gonna move these aside. Oh, they're like kind of slanted or lopsided, but anyways, super excited to be using this new tarot deck. I got it as a gift on Valentine's Day from my partner. I tried to practice with it as much as I could last night, so I'm very intrigued to see how it reads in today's video. It's very thick. I saw this particular deck on Capricorn Venus's YouTube channel. I love their readings. I highly recommend you go check them out. I need to catch up on some of their videos though. Anyways, why is pile 1 resentful? How can they let go of resentment? How can they let go of resentment? I want to take this card. It's like sticking out. How can pile 1 let go of resentment? Okay. Bottom of the deck, we have 8 of Cups. Oh yeah, I'm going to take that right down. So far we have the Magician. Aren't these cards gorgeous? Love that. And 8 of Cups, because it's in the bottom of the deck. So, pile 1, I feel like with the 8 of Cups, a lot of how you can kind of let go of this resentment towards women really deals with the kind of like addressing it, period. You know, I feel like there seems to be a lot of Mercury themes here. Like, I feel like you could be a Gemini or a Virgo. Like, if you aren't if you don't have those major placements, then that's totally fine. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of Mercury themes here. So I feel like through conversing through it and being open about it to yourself, you don't have to tell anybody, okay? Not a single soul has to know about your emotions, pile 1. Just know that. But I feel like that's kind of one thing that you need to hear, in the sense that your feelings are completely safe in this world, and that they have a space here. And that, like, there is nothing that you need to do in order to, how do I say, fit in, or that there's no correct way for you to let this go. I feel like with this Mercury theme we have here, it's just kind of like this need for things to kind of run as smoothly as possible, or to approach emotions with a more analytical or more logical perspective or like take. And I feel like as a result, you've kind of like simplified your emotions so much to a point that when you start feeling past the gauge in which you can process them in a logical way, like, you seem to get kind of confused, or maybe the feelings get very overwhelming. And I feel like because of that, you're very susceptible to overstimulation when it comes to your emotions in terms of this particular topic, because there's only so much that the mind can process, and there's only so much that your logic can like take before the feelings become a little bit heavy and too much, and suddenly like you're kind of like, I feel like for some of you, like, maybe it boils over to like, you know, like shaking, you know, like very visceral reactions. I feel like maybe like it shows up in your body, like it maybe in like cramps, or like, you know, sore spots, or, you know, like just like muscle pulls, and, you know, shaking, like visible physical shaking, or like, you know, you get really angry, or you get very hungry all of a sudden, you know, something like that. And I feel like addressing your emotions through something more physical would really help you, like, you know, like walking, going for a run, cleaning, anything that requires you to get your body moving, or something that requires you to take care of your body. Maybe while you're taking a bath, I feel like through your physical needs is how you can really address a lot of your feelings, because I feel like a lot of your feelings manifest through your body, and maybe sometimes it has caused you to get very ill, or caused you to get very stressed, or get random cramps and pains in your body. And I feel like you can safely acknowledge the fact that a lot of the sufferings that you faced with women are behind you now, or anyone, as a matter of fact. It doesn't even have to be women. It could be men too. It could be anyone. But I just feel like there's a particular sore spot for some of you when it comes to, like maternal figures and like, feminine energy. And I feel like maybe because of that, some of you have adopted a very masculine perspective, or become very masculine. That's for some of you, not all of you. But I just feel like with this Magician card here, it's like, basically what I'm getting is that you have all the necessary tools, and you're in a very good place in your life right now at the time that you're watching this to address this feeling. Understand, Pile 1, that these are just feelings. They cannot hurt you. They can't damage you. They can't do anything to you, okay? And I feel like you should really affirm that to yourself. I feel like you should affirm to yourself constantly that your feelings are solicited in this world, and that you were not brought into this world to feel a specific way. Sorry, I just like burped. That was kind of gross. But I just feel like through understanding that your feelings have a space in this world, and that like you have a place in this world, and that there's a reason you're still here feeling the way you feel, get that out of the way and understand that it's no longer about whether or not your feelings are solicited right now. At the time that you're watching this, it's 1000% about the fact that you're feeling at all. Because I feel like for a lot of you, if these emotions have been bubbling up, it's very important that you address them, because I feel like for a really long time you were pretty apathetic, or very emotionally unavailable, or emotionally closed off. And because of that, you were very, not afraid, but like very like, like anxious to address your feelings, very nervous to feel again. And maybe for a lot of you, like you haven't really been feeling up until now. And maybe because of that, like the feelings of resentment obviously come with it, And I feel like for some of you, resentment seems to be translating through like materialism, in the sense that like I feel like you've been attaching a lot of your work, or attaching a lot of your worth, or like feelings to work, or like what you create. Like I feel like you've done a very good job of coping with this resentment, but I feel like even though you've been coping with it, it still hasn't been properly addressed or properly put out there for you to heal, and for you to kind of like get it out of your body. Because I feel like it kind of translates to like how you physically feel on a day-to-day basis. I feel like maybe there are some days where you randomly wake up in pain, because like I said, a lot of these feelings translate through like your physical body. I pull another card here. We have Justice. You could be a Libra, or Libra could be a relevant placement in your life. But I feel like for you, with this Justice card, honestly, just know that everything that needed to be done has been done. There's nothing more to the story. There's not more that you need to learn. There's no more that you need to learn in this present moment. You've done all you can, Pile 1. And at least in the physical realm. But within your more emotional realm, like within your, body, it's just like you need to address it more, and you need to let go of it more. You let go of it more. And letting go of it means expressing it, getting it out some way, talking about it, And it's like, not to say like you have to go talk about it to someone, like that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like there needs to be a way that you vent these feelings out, like journaling, writing it down and burning it, crumpling it up, throwing it in the trash, ripping it up. And then, or like speaking to it in the mirror, talking to something, like talking to inanimate objects, to a pet, something like that. I feel like for me, like this thing I do is kind of weird, but I talk to my shower head when I'm showering, and it helps, like you're getting it out of your system, you're translating it through, like, and you're getting it out into physical, tangible words. And that's a lot more easy to take a gauge on than like in your mind, you know? Like the other day I was speaking my feelings out and I realized how dramatic I sounded when I was talking it, but in my mind it made more sense and it was more like overwhelming just because it was brewing in my mind, you know? And I feel like with the Magician and the Justice card, like you have the ability, like justice has been served, you know, like all karma in your life I feel like has been dealt. And I feel like right now you've been left with a clean slate, and maybe because of that a lot of these feelings have been bubbling up. And I feel like you are very analytical, you are very observant and, you know, like assessive. So I feel like as a result, you've been noticing these themes. I don't think that anything I'm saying here today in terms of like why are you resentful, how you're feeling, I don't think that these are feelings that you didn't know about. But I feel like moving on from them has been a little bit scary, or addressing them has been very nerve-wracking, because like this is such a heavy topic for you and something that you kind of choose to leave behind, or something that you kind of refuse to address. And that's totally valid, pile one. But I just want to say that like with the Justice card, like there is a point where you are just being unfair to yourself and you're being unfair to people in your life. And not that like you owe anyone anything, but it's just like by holding yourself back, I feel like you're somebody who really cares about people and somebody who may even be susceptible people pleasing. It's just like I feel like people in your life would really want you to be better to yourself and be nicer to yourself and be more realistic at an emotional level with yourself. And by holding yourself back from being openly expressive to the universe in terms of your feelings, you're holding back a lot and you're preventing yourself from being as abundant as you possibly could be. And I also feel like with this what is hidden will be revealed, I do think that there are changes going on in your life, and I feel like maybe these changes have been reminding you of a very like crucial or like very eventful time of your life, maybe one that was of particular turbulence. And I feel like these themes have been very triggering and very hazy for you and very confusing, and maybe that's why you kind of chose to leave them behind. But I feel like by leaving them behind, you're leaving something that was already unaddressed from your past, and leaving it behind and, you know, simply saying like, oh, like if this is too confusing, I'm just gonna leave it. That's not how it works, pile one, because a part of it will still remain in your psyche and it will still wreak havoc on your physical body and stress you out at an emotional and even subconscious level, you know, pile one. I feel like it'll translate, for some of you it's translated through nightmares, terrible visions, or like extreme like waves of like anxiety, or just like feelings of like anger and hatred or like resentment, you know? Obviously resentment, because that's what the reading is about, but you know, pile one. And I just feel like you need to address this. And I know that like it seems kind of unproductive for me to constantly like recite to you like you need to address this, but when I say address this, you know exactly what it is I'm talking about. You're too smart to not know, pile one. Like you're probably gonna be one of my smartest piles today. Not saying that the other piles are dumb, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, especially if you chose the sodalite, because I feel like the sodalite really grounds those that are like chaotic or ones that strive for routine and order, you know? You clearly have a specific filter and specific method for, you know, going through your emotions and going through your life. But I feel like this system that you've developed, this foolproof, perfect system, honestly, like I can't describe to you how like meticulously you have like knitted this system of like processing feelings and letting them go and throwing them in the back seat. But I feel like this method has become outdated for how much you've changed and how much you've experienced and grown. I feel like it's just this method, as foolproof as it is and how perfect it is, it's not really serving the person that you are now. In fact, it's keeping you from becoming the person that you want to be. And you need to let this method go, and you need to leave it behind and develop a new one that will better suit you, and one that is also foolproof. And I feel like it'll be very uncomfortable changing it, and it'll be very like crazy letting it go. But I also feel like once you get started on the new method, it will really solicit so much of your time and energy that it will make coping with all of these feelings so much easier. And I just feel like this method really entails this specific way of filtering your emotions and coping with them and, working them through. I'm thinking like kneading bread or like bread dough. Now I kind of want bread. By the way, guys, like, be careful when you eat carbs because, like, honestly, like, carbs, I've been like, if you love carbs like me, at least don't eat them before a specific threshold before bed because you will wake up really bloated. Anyways, and also increase your fluid intake. That is for everyone. I will tell that to every pilot. Increase your fluid intake. But anyways, that's besides the point. I digress. I'm actually going to pull another card here. We also have Six of Swords. Absolutely. Literally. There are things in your life that you need to leave behind because there are things in your life that you are physically leaving behind. And if you are leaving things behind, you need to leave a part of yourself with it. The part of yourself that no longer serves you, the part of yourself that is hurt and hanging on to things out of revenge, out of resentment, out of fear, whatever the feeling may be. And I feel like it's become very confusing in your life as of late because like it is so unclear as to what you need to let go. Simply put it, what's making you uncomfortable and what's further causing confusion. Because like I'm thinking like, like I wear glasses, like if you wear glasses and you start like not being able to see things, you don't get new eyeballs, you get new glasses, So that's what I'm saying, pile one, is like you don't need to change yourself. You don't need to do any of that. But you simply need to let go of the filter that you have built in to take in the world and take it at your own pace. Because it is no longer serving you and it's just like holding you back, Change the filter out, It's like when air filters get all dirty, like you don't just leave it there, It starts doing more harm than good. It starts spewing even more like dust and, put potential toxins into your household. You change the filter. You don't clean the air every single day, Like that's just not realistic. That's not serving you. It's just not a sleigh. You know what I mean? But I think pile one, sorry, I don't know why. It doesn't matter how if you've been confused or not, because this confusion is necessary for you to understand that there is something in your life that needs to be changed and that there is a method that you have developed for processing your feelings that is just no longer serving you, and you need to let it go because like by keeping the same filter too, it's keeping the resentment there too, because it's like you developed it out of survival. You developed it out of like keeping yourself safe in a very turbulent time of your life. And by keeping this method, it's subconsciously constantly reminding you of like that time of your life, that turbulent period of your life. And especially regarding your like maternal figures or like women in your life. And I just feel like you really need to understand that like obviously I can't just say let it go. I feel like that's just like not helping. But what I mean by letting go is putting your feelings out on the table and understanding that like the way that you process them is no longer serving you. And also that like once again your feelings have a place in this world. I feel like once you understand that resentment also has a place in this world and it also serves its purpose, and that your feelings of heartbreak and anger are purposeful and that they have meaning and that they are very much necessary and solicited, I feel like once you get past that, like you will feel so much better. Maybe some of you even feel like emotionality or being like feeling so much is like weak or like makes you uncomfortable. But like the reality is that it isn't weak, like once your emotions are out there, it's like if anyone that hates on them or anyone that judges them or anyone that tries to hurt you, they're just hurt themselves and they're literally going through the same things just in different shades, and they should really watch this video too if I'm gonna be honest with you. But pile one, and appreciate yourself for being so observant and appreciate yourself for being so critical and developing honestly like a foolproof method for navigating your life so far. But understand that like forgive yourself for doing the things that you thought were right in the moment, and also release yourself from the versions of yourself that you created to survive. that is all I have for you, pile one. If the reading resonated, then like, comment, and subscribe. If you watched this all the way through, at least. But thank you so much for watching. I love you. And that is all I have for you. Bye. Hello, pile 2. If you chose this Labradorite, this is going to be your reading for how can you let go of resentment? Why are you resentful? Oh my gosh, you guys. Listen, I don't know if it's a Scorpio thing, but I just love heavier reading topics. I feel like it is just so my jam, and I love anything that has to do with shadow work, or like anything that comes, like anything that deals with intense feelings like this. I don't know. But anyways, we have some oracle cards for you here, and to get the party started. And yeah, let's just get right into it. Let me stop wasting our time. So we have full moon in Scorpio. Breathe through the tension. Death of the deceitful. Just move this thing to the side. Can you still see it? You can still see it. I'm in such a good mood right now, pile 2. If you're also in a good mood, I love you. And if you're in a bad mood, I still love you. And you're amazing. We have ripe fruits. And then we also have this affirmation card. So this will be kind of like a sweet little message. Your angel number is 8. Your talent for setting and reaching goals is like no other. You are self-sufficient and capable of achieving your ambitions. 8 representing the ebb and flow, the infinite loop of creation. I am successful. Okay. Not gonna lie, pile 1, you may, not pile 1, pile 2, sorry. If I start saying pile 1 a lot, literally just yell at me in the comments or something. I don't know. Like, I did that in one of my past videos, and someone commented, like, you kept saying pile 1 and pile 2. I was like, girl, I'm so sorry. Like, I swear I was just too excited, like, it's not like that. I'm not advertising, guys. Like, it's just not like that. Anyways, you could be a Scorpio pile 2. Like, you could have fixed placements in your chart. But I feel like for a good majority of you, a lot of your resentment has stemmed from being let down by people, or feeling like you kind of have to do everything yourself, like hyper independence, With the Death of the Deceitful card, I feel like a lot of your resentment has stemmed from letting people go and kind of seemingly feeling misunderstood and feeling like your feelings are like too much. You know what I mean? I feel like with the Breathe Through the Tension card, I feel like a lot of you feel very deeply. I feel like your emotions run very deep. Think water signs and also earth signs. I feel like earth signs like feel a lot more deeply than people think, but like earth signs just like don't talk about it. They're like, we just like money, guys, but like deep down they're like crying. And I feel like with the Breathe Through the Tension card, basically what I'm trying to say is like you feel very deeply, probably pile 2, and I feel like, oh, I caught myself there. You heard me? You heard me pause? But sorry. I feel like a lot of you have cut off a lot of things in your life that no longer served you. And I think that this could relate to anyone. It could relate to family. It could relate to friends. It could relate to acquaintances. It could relate to people you don't even know. Like maybe you followed somebody on social media or like YouTube or something, and you were like, girl, like I no longer resonate with you, and I'm like done. Like, bye. And I feel like as a result, like maybe some of you have felt very resentful in the sense that you feel like as if though you have to do everything yourself. But by doing everything yourself, you feel very blocked, and you feel like it's just like you're doing a 2-person job all by yourself. And not to say that like you need somebody in your life, pile 2. That's not what I'm trying to say. But the act of doing something all by yourself at times is just so laborious and backbreaking. Then if you were to just get help, or not like get help, like help, but like like have someone assist you, like someone listen to you. And I feel like maybe that's kind of where the problem arises, or where kind of like the tension, so to say, arises, because maybe you feel like people don't understand you. Maybe when you feel like you express yourself, people get scared, people get uncomfortable, you get a lot of sorry, I don't really know what to say, or things like that. And I feel like as a result, you've become very resentful. And I feel like with this ripe fruits cards here, you've heavily cultivated this lifestyle. You have what it takes to manifest everything in your life that you want. But I almost feel like for some of you, if you do have everything that you want, at least from like a material standpoint or like an emotion, whatever perspective it is, whatever it is that you feel like you have enough of, I feel like you cultivated it through pure, like, nose to the grindstone, like working your butt off energy all by yourself. And I feel like because of that, maybe sometimes when you look at your accomplishments, you feel a little bit bitter or like kind of like, wow, like understandably like angry, because it's like no one helped me, like I had to do this all by myself and I'm not even that satisfied. And obviously that's a very particular message, but I'm just sensing a lot of like internalized anger and a lot of like this sharp, distinct need to prove people in your life wrong, because maybe people have cut you off, people have hurt you, people have deceived you, and maybe you cut them off. Because with the death of the deceitful card here, I just heavily feel like you've really let go of people in your life and you've really made it an effort to kind of keep people out, or like, do everything yourself. And I feel like as a result, like you've become very resentful, especially since we do have the number 8 here. Obviously it's an angel number, but the point is that number 8 correlates to the 8th house. I feel like maybe for some of you could have like a very like interesting 8th house placement, or maybe you have 8th house in your chart, particularly like the moon. And it could be in your big 3, like your 8th house, like, like you could have a moon or a sun in the 8th house, or you could have like a Scorpio rising. And I feel like there's just this very distinct resentment towards yourself and people in your life, because maybe people have left you, like people have left you alone, and you feel very lonely and you feel very bitter and kind of like, it's like with this Labradorite, I already knew Pile 2 was going to be workaholics. I already knew y'all work too much because y'all chose Labradorite. Like, girl, like, take a break. Like, and then you'll be like, no, like, I can't just take a break. That's not how it works. Like, yes, that is how it works. But you know what I mean? It's just like, you work so hard, but I feel like the harder you work, the closer you get to burnout, and like, the more you just kind of realize that you're working to run away from something, or to not address something, or to kind of like, not sit with your uncomfortable feelings, or like through silence. And honestly, Pile 2, I feel like a lot of like what could help you let go of resentment is just sitting down with the feelings, because the feelings are trying to tell you something, and it's like, when we feel very deeply, or when we feel very intense things, we get this knee-jerk reaction to do something, like there's something that just snaps in us and we're like, okay, we need to do this right now. It's like, it's no different than our physical body, like when we touch a hot stove, like we feel that it's very hot and our first instinct is to jerk away from it, and it's like, not to say that like, oh, like you need to like do that in emotional level, like do something that you definitely don't need to do, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like the point is the feeling encourages you to do something, and it pops an answer in your head, like for example, there was this one day where I was feeling like absolute garbage, and I literally sat up in my bed. I was like, girl, I cannot live like this anymore. I will change my life. I started saying that, like I literally started chanting that out loud, and I cleaned out my entire room, made my bed. I've been making my bed ever since. I went out and I got groceries and crystals, because that is the homosexual agenda. But that's besides the point. What I'm trying to convey here, Pile 2, is that if you don't sit with your feelings and you keep running away from them, you will never truly understand what it is that you're trying to fulfill, what it is that you're trying to fill up, what it is that you're trying to do with yourself, and what it is that you're trying to accomplish, How do you know your goals, like, if you don't know how your goals make you feel? How do you know how to get to your goals if you don't know how you feel right now? And I feel like through incorporating more feelings and letting that play out with your logic will really help you let go of a lot of resentment. And like, it's like obviously these feelings are going to be very uncomfortable. Like, I'm not saying, Pile 2, that this is going to be easy. I'm not saying that like, oh, like just feel your feelings, lol. Like, it's not that simple. I know that. But what I'm trying to say here is, Pile 2, like you need to approach that, and you need to get that concept into your mind that feelings aren't bad or good. They're there. They're with us, coexisting with us. May as well make room for them, because they are a very like, they're integrated into our existence as a human species, regardless of how detached you may be. And I feel like once you start saying like, my feelings are okay, I'm okay with feeling, like, don't, when you feel, don't get all uncomfortable and jerk away from it and be like, girl, like, I can't do this, like, bye, like, let me go back, let me clock back in, that's, how much has that done for you, pile 2? How much has working done for you? Because I'm feeling the more you work, the more it builds onto that resentment, because it's like, oh, wow, I gotta work because ain't no one else gonna support me, lol. And it's just like, it's just creating this maddening, insanity inducing cycle where you're working to run away from something, but the more you run away from it by working, the more it hones and ferments that resentment and this anger and this like deep feeling of like being done incorrectly by literally all the circumstances that you could have possibly imagined. And because of that, it's like, I feel like maybe for some of you play a front, or like you're like, oh, I'm fine, like literally I'm just working and saving money, like it's whatever, like I just be working. But I feel like once you get past like, okay, what else are you doing besides working, you're like, you know what I'm saying, pile 2? And not to like call you out or put you on blast if that is the case, but what I'm trying to say here, pile 2, is like, don't you realize that like working is fun and all, and it's getting you like your mind off things, but is it really addressing the problem that you feel deep down? Is it really helping you, pile 2? And if it is, like, how much longevity and sustainability does it have, It's like, how much is it helping you? How much is it serving you? So yeah, let's get right into the tarot here. I actually got this deck for Valentine's Day for my partner, so shout out to him. I'm very excited. And I like the way it reads. It's very passive, but it's also very, I don't know. And I actually saw this deck first on Capricorn Venus, their channel. And yeah, I highly recommend their channel. I literally need to catch up on all of their readings because I love their readings and their energy is just so good. We love that. Anyways, why is pile 2 resentful and how can they let go of it? Oh, card just flopped. Why is pile 2 resentful and how can they let go of it? Why is pile 2 resentful and how can they let go of it? What is the bottom of the deck? We have 5 of Pentacles. Literally. Oh my gosh, hold on here. Okay, we have Knight of Pentacles. And then we have 5 of Pentacles. I just said that. Okay. You may have an Earth Saturn. So you may have Saturn in Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. That's for some of you, not all of you. I feel like for some of you, Saturn is very prominent in your chart, especially like Capricorn. Like you may have Capricorn in your big 3. I already figured that every time I see Labradorite, I immediately think of Capricorn. I'm like, Capricorn. Capricorn equals Labradorite. And not to say like Capricorns are all about work, because they have so much more personality outside of that, but Sticking to the Capricorn theme though, I feel like you guys feel either literally nothing at all, or you feel literally everything under this freaking sun. And as a result, I feel like it has been an emotional roller coaster getting to this point. And I feel like you may have some vices, and I feel like these vices may come through, and this is for some of you, not all of you, but, whatever you consider a vice. I feel like, actually, never mind. Anyways, with the 9 of Pentacles, I feel like you've been very slowly working in your career. I feel like for a lot of you, you've accomplished a lot in your life, and I feel like you've gotten a lot done. And I feel like for some of you, it's just like, I feel this like resentment towards your parents. Maybe they're like absent, or they were absent, or they didn't do something for you or something like that. But regardless of the case, I'm feeling like maybe some of you wish they would be proud of you, or wish they would like tell you something, or wish they would like see what you've accomplished. Or maybe there's just like this resentment towards people because you wish they would recognize how much you get done. And maybe you'll have like this need to prove people wrong, or to kind of show yourself up. But I feel like in attaching your needs to that, or like attaching your desires to that like system of like wanting others' approval, it has just driven you further into this confusing rabbit hole of like anger, resentment, like nothingness, and I feel like with this Five of Pentacles, maybe like people, okay, since we have 8th house themes here, I feel like I've heard that 8th house themes really deals with like debt and like other people's money and things like that. So for some of you, maybe with this Five of Pentacles and these 8th house themes, maybe some of you are constantly being asked for money, or maybe you've lent a lot of money to people without proper payback. Like you pay someone $40 and they give you $20 back, or maybe you pay for dinner and you all agreed to split the bill but they didn't send you the money back, or maybe like you like do so much for people and they don't reciprocate, and it's just like this deep resentment towards a lot of people in your life where you're like, dang, like I do so much for y'all and what do y'all do, and I feel like for some of you sometimes it comes out as very snappy, like y'all do nothing for me, like I feel like sometimes it comes out through anger and like just blatant like feeling like you've been treated incorrectly, feeling like there's just something wrong, like, and obviously not to get like all crazy about it, but I just feel like for some of you, like you've lost so much and given up so much trying to make others happy or trying to make others see your worth, and I feel like that's further driven you down this rabbit hole of like working and trying to accomplish things for yourself, but I feel like your standards are like insanely high. I feel like once you accomplish something, it's like a brief moment of like ecstasy and like, wow, like I finally got it, and then like it completely wears off and you're like, okay, next thing. And I feel like because of that, like you've become very desensitized to your own success and your own like accomplishments, because you attach so much of it to other people's perspective and other people's like view on you and what they think, and like I feel like for some of you could severely suffer from people pleasing or burning yourself out or like throwing yourself so much into work, and like you don't get a raise, your boss doesn't recognize you, or like coworkers just keep trying to compete with you, and it's just like you feel like, dang, y'all, like I'm not even trying to compete with y'all, I just want to like make y'all see me, and I feel like it translates through just like immense anger. Like I have like this headache, and it's just very, I feel like for some of you get frequent migraines, or you just like, there are days where you're just not feeling it. Like I feel like when I say that, like, you know what I mean. Like there's just days where you're just not into it. You're just not with it. You're like, girl, like I just want to lay in bed all day. Like I should have just not. Like, I should, like, what should you have not? Like you just shouldn't have not. Like that's how you feel some days, pile too. And I feel like I feel like when you have a rut, or like you get in like a very stuck place, like a place of stagnancy, it's because like you may like attach so much of your worth and so much of what you do to what other people like believed in you or what other people wanted you to do, that like when you think for yourself you get lost or you get emotional or you get angry because it's like, like, and maybe you run away from that because it gets uncomfortable and you're like, oh, let me just keep doing what I was doing. Let me just keep focusing on what other people think of me. And I feel like because of that, it's just like you're not addressing yourself. You're not addressing your own opinions of yourself. You're not addressing how you feel about yourself and your goals and everything alike. And because of that, it's just like caused so much destruction in your life, in your relationships with yourself, your routines, your health, like everything. Like, and it's just like all because like you want other people to notice you, but it's like that is never going to be sustainable because we can't please everybody. And not only that, but other people's opinions of you are way too unpredictable and way too unsustainable, because the more you seek it, the more you'll be deprived of it, because like it's like you have such a high demand but the supply will never match up, because it's like it's just not how it works. It's just not sustainable. That's the best way I can put it, pile 2. What else do we have here? We also have Knight of Cups. For some of you, I do feel like, because the Knights really want to prove themselves and they really want to like, like get out there. But for some of you, maybe this has popped up through like romance, and maybe like for some of you, I do feel like as if though your love life has gone extremely unaddressed because of these workaholic behaviors. And maybe for some of you, you've like maybe for some of you you've gone into a relationship recently, or you've been reflecting on past romantic relationships, or like you've been thinking about romantic relationships more, And I feel like maybe some of you have kind of attached a lot of worth to it, or like maybe for some of you, you've kind of realized a lot of this anger through romance or through these emotions. It's like whether or not it is about romantic relationships, the point is that like you've been feeling very deeply and you've been realizing that there's a lot of emotions that you would like to express to people, or a lot of feelings that you'd really like to get out, or like to like tell people, or like like maybe you feel like other people are constantly dumping their feelings on you. I feel like maybe some of you feel like you're always there for people, but people aren't always there for you, and because of that, it's caused a lot of disconnect and instability in your life. And I feel like with the Knight of Cups here, it just seems to be kind of like addressing your emotions and addressing how like you seemingly just want people to understand you and people to kind of like feel you, you know what I mean? Like I feel you, but I feel like this Knight of Cups is honestly a little bit hazy and it's a little bit confusing, because the more I look at it, the more I'm just kind of like, I feel like you're a little bit hesitant and you're a little bit reluctant to express your feelings or to kind of tell people how you truly feel. And I feel like that's an ongoing theme in your life. I feel like you give people what they want from you. Like, I feel like you only give people the feelings that you feel like they will appreciate, but not the ones that you think are like, not the ones that actually burden you, not the ones that like you actually want to express, not the ones that you actually want to tell and want to be known, because out of this immense fear that people will simply reject them, or people won't relate to them, or people will just like look down on it. And I just feel like it's caused even more stress and even more loss within your life, because you're like, wow, y'all, like, I feel like I can't do anything. I feel like you feel trapped. I'm thinking Eight of Swords energy. And like, not to say that like you, like obviously we don't have the Eight of Swords here, but that vibe, of feeling trapped. But like the reality is that like you have more than you think, and like it's just not like that. It's just simply what you're perceiving to be your reality is simply not what's actually there and what's actually true, because you fabricated so much of that reality based on other people's perceptions and feelings and opinions. And because of that, it's like you aren't really even living in your own life. You're living a life that somebody else wanted for you, or like maybe you're living the life of your dreams, but like the way you're living it is how somebody else taught you to live it. And because of that, it's just causing so much unfulfillment. You could be working your dream job, but your schedule and the way you approach your job is something that somebody else taught to you, but that somebody isn't as happy. They are just as unsatisfied. And I feel like maybe you're very susceptible to people yelling at you, or people like taking their anger out on you because they hate to see you succeed in the ways that they wanted to. And I feel like this is definitely like familial, or kind of like tied to people you're very close with, or people or people like you attach a lot of value to. And because of that, it's causing even more stress and strain on your life, because it's like you're trying to please them, and they're further like taking advantage of that by like throwing you into a loophole and throwing you into a lifestyle that isn't serving you, and is forcing you to live out a life that was not even meant for you. And it's just like, pile two, you need to let that go. Like, you need to, if you're trying to become more happy, and if you're trying to find true fulfillment, you need to let go of what it is that's keeping you from fulfillment. Think of like a metal detector. Like you can't board the plane if you're carrying something that metal detector doesn't like, or something that security is like, hey, you can't bring cigarettes on the plane. Like, unless you want to get on that flight, like you need to unless if you want to get on that flight, you better let go of what it is that's not needed, or what's keeping you back. And it's like, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna suck, and it's gonna be frustrating, but the reality is like it's gonna help you get to where you need to be. One more card. We also have Queen of Swords. For some of you, there may be a female figure in your life, or like a feminine energy in your life, that is extremely hard on you and extremely discerning of you. I feel like for some of you, like this could be like a motherly figure, or like maternal figure, or like just a woman in your life. It doesn't have to be a woman, it could also be a man. It could also just be you being way too hard on yourself. I feel like you're very hard on yourself, and because of that, other people are hard on you. It's like you're doing onto yourself what others are doing onto you, and like vice versa. Pile two, you really need to stand up for yourself more, and you really need to set your foot down when it comes to your feelings, and you really need to stop trying to please those that can't even please themselves. If you can't please yourself, how can somebody else please you? That's just how it is. It's like when you please yourself, it is fulfilling, it is long term, it is sustainable, it is forever. But when you try to please somebody else, or when somebody else is proud of you, it's like that lasts for like literally 5 seconds, you know, and then you're like, give me more. Like, give me. Like, please. Like I'm pressing the place order button. Like, give me more. Like, I don't care. Free shipping. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just not realistic and it's not sustainable. And with this Queen of Swords, like, whatever the case may be, I do feel as if though there are feelings that maybe for some of you, you feel like there's a feminine energy in your life, or like a feminine figure in your life that you wish would recognize you more, or like someone in your life that you want to express your feelings to more, and like you just feel like they wouldn't accept you, they wouldn't take you seriously, or maybe they don't take you seriously, and because of that, like, it causes you to like feel some type of way, at least in terms of like loss, anguish, and, you know, like, not even anguish, but like, I'm just thinking of the word wretched, you know, like, you feel like maybe for some of you, like, there are times where you literally just feel miserable. Like, honestly, like, I feel like misery has ensued in your life, and it has caused so much drama in your life, and it's just like, pile 2, it's just not working anymore. It's just not getting you through. Like, life has changed too much. Start letting go of things now. Start feeling these feelings now. The only way to truly let go of resentment is to let yourself feel it unapologetically and in the moment, because whatever comes after you start feeling this resentment, that you will deal with it when you get there. The point is, like, you need to work with what you have now. What you have now is these feelings. That's really all you have left right now, because I feel like you've worked everything to the bone, and I feel like you've pushed your physical body beyond its limits, and I feel like you have sucked everyone dry of their approval. You've sucked yourself dry of your own energy, your own creativity, your own juices. And because of that, it's just not working anymore. And you need to start feeling these things no matter how uncomfortable it is. And maybe for some of you, like, at the time that you're watching this, you're going through a very, like, tense time of your life, or one that's very uncomfortable, one that's like you're literally feeling like you're walking on eggshells. But it's like, you just need to breathe, and you need to keep going, and you need to just feel it through, and you need to just understand that, like, this discomfort is temporary, but what you do can cause permanent results. You know what I mean? It's like, don't make decisions based on your anxiety. Don't do what you would normally do because it's not working. Because like I said, this situation is temporary, but don't do things in a temporary situation that will cause permanent negative results, and ones that will be forever damaging to you. You know, pile 2, save yourself that trouble and let yourself be happy, you know, like, let yourself appreciate yourself, let you be happy for yourself, you know. It's just like, it sounds crazy, but like, are you really just letting yourself be happy? Are you really just letting yourself be human, honestly? Because I feel like for some of you, like, if you told someone your schedule, it would just be unrealistically, like, bad. Like, they would be like, girl, how do you do that? What do you mean you get 3 hours of sleep every day? Like, girl, bye. But anyways, that's all I have for you, pile 2. If the reading resonated, like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you're doing well. I love you, and thank you so much for watching. Bye. Hello, pile 3. If you chose this opalite, this is going to be a reading for how can you let go of resentment, and, you know, perhaps why have you been resentful. And I have some oracle cards here, and I'm so excited. I've literally loved all the readings today. This is like one of my favorite topics. Probably like, that is such a dark topic. Like, sorry, just Scorpio things. But anyways, we're gonna just get into the oracle cards to get this party started. So for yours, we have New Moon in Scorpio, go deeper. And then we have something that is never truly yours, the all-knower. Just gonna move these to the side here. Just gonna do that. And then number 30. This is just kind of like a little affirmation card for you. So we have, you are an original, innovative thinker and an excellent communicator. You have a great talent for using creativity to convey your ideas, and your optimistic attitude has an uplifting effect on others. I am imaginative. So I'm not gonna lie, pile 3, the first thing that came through when I pulled your oracle cards was like, for some of you, you may have a lot of money trauma. Because if there's something that is never truly yours, it looks like coins. I think the description of the card actually mentions money, but that's for some of you, not all of you. I think that the general idea for the vast majority of you is that maybe you have control tendencies where you try to cling on to things, or you try to, maybe you have this refusal to like accept change, or like accept some emotions or some parts of yourself. And maybe your resentment stems kind of from this concept you developed about yourself, in which like there are parts of yourself that are not acceptable, or like kind of bizarre, or like you deem it as bizarre. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, I'm feeling like there are parts of yourself, or the way some emotions that you feel from time to time, or some things that you do, that you kind of just like don't accept anymore. And you kind of just like, I feel like that was taught to you. You know what I mean? Like somebody else made you believe that there are parts of you, or that things that you can never have. And because of that, it's just like this feeling of like feeling unworthy, feeling upset. Even though with the All Knower card, I feel like at a deeper level, you do understand that there are things in this life that you deserve. And I feel like this heavily ties in with your feelings. Maybe for some of you, like the way you have felt in the past, people have called you dramatic, or people have said like you're overreacting, or maybe you've been gaslit a lot out of your feelings. And you know, for those of you that are dealing with money trauma, I feel like a lot of your resentment stems from the fact that like maybe you have terrible habits in just any area of your life, because of people that raised you, or people that you have, you know, witnessed while growing up, or you learned it from other people, from perhaps from like school, like work, things like that. And I feel like, you know, it's like you picked up habits that you learned, and maybe because of that you have some resentment, because it's like you feel as if though you were taught the wrong way, or you feel as if though you learned the wrong way. It's just like I'm sensing a lot of pointing fingers in this particular reading. I feel like there's a lot of blaming going on between you and a lot of other figures in your life that you really looked up to. And I feel like with the All Knower card, you've suddenly become pretty hyper aware of the fact that there are certain aspects of yourself and in this life that kind of just like are outdated, or kind of like a result of somebody else doing something incorrectly. And I feel like a lot of your resentment stems from that. I feel like your moods maybe like go up and down, especially with the opalite. I feel like opalite kind of tells me that like the stone itself is for stabilization, and it's for like, you know, calming down mood swings. So I feel like for some of you, maybe that is a thing, and maybe people have like told you a lot of that calm down stuff, you know. And I also feel like with this new moon and Scorpio card here, with this go deeper card, the reason I keep reiterating that for some of you, maybe you feel like there are parts of yourself that are not acceptable, or like not desired. It's like maybe those are specific emotions that you haven't really delved into, or really haven't explored, because maybe people have made you feel like that they're not acceptable, you know, that they're not necessary. Or maybe you simply weren't taught to go deeper. You simply weren't taught to feel through your emotions, and maybe to run away through it from like maybe, I don't know, retail therapy, you know, shopping, you know, saving money and working, things like that. Something, I feel like there's just this theme that maybe some of you cope with money problems through like, or no, you cope with more emotional problems through money. And I feel like because of that, it's like maybe for some of you it's a little bit hard to save money, or maybe it's hard to handle your money properly. And I feel like that behavior was taught to you by somebody else in your life, and maybe that somebody else maybe has blamed you or yelled at you for it, but it's like you can't help it, because it's like no one else taught you how to properly, not properly, but you know, like handle it the way that they seemingly want you to. And I also feel like with this I Am Imaginative card, I feel like for some of you, you have a lot of creativity, and I feel like you have a lot of talents and unknown talents. And I feel like those have also been shut down by people in your life. I feel like people have kind of stripped you of your authenticity, or people have tried to strip you of your identity, or like, you know, like take a on you through like, you know, like hating on you, talking about you behind your back. I feel like maybe people have talked bad about you behind your back, or I feel like you've attracted a lot of drama in your life, or you've attracted fake people that kind of just like really are out to get you. I feel like you're very resentful. Your resentment seems to be kind of an on and off thing, and definitely a more short-lived thing, but I feel like there is a deeper issue that isn't really being addressed. I feel like it comes out in like these little events that like you kind of just get over, you know, like you go through something like annoying and terrible and turbulent, and then you kind of get over and then you move along with your life. But I feel like a same situation in your life keeps popping back up over and over again. And what I mean by that is I feel like there's a lot of reoccurring events in your life that are all very emotionally stressful and turbulent, but it seemingly constantly repeats itself just like the seasons. And because of that, I feel like it's easy to tell that there is a deeper underlying issue that isn't really being resolved. And because of that, it's like maybe you've developed a lot of stress from it, or maybe you feel like really angry about it, or maybe these feelings don't surface at all until you go through one of those episodes where you're feeling just really heavy and really stressed out. And I feel like because of that, it's important to understand that a lot of this issue seems to be stemming from a lot of your habits and how people have treated you before, and how people have maybe treated you like an accessory, or like objectified you, or like hated on you, you know. I'm sensing that some of you, like, people like talk bad about you for like the way you dress, the way you spend your money, the way you like something that deals with the physical realm. Maybe you've gotten bullied before, or maybe you've gotten like treated badly by people, and like it seems as if though like you kind of let the situations go, but the feeling itself kind of stayed, you know, like the moment that you were dealing with that, like the moment that you dealt with it's kind of past, and you forgot who that feeling was associated with, when it happened, you know. But I feel like the point is that feeling is still there. I'm sensing a lot of Aries in this pile. Aries, Gemini, also we have Scorpio here with this new moon card. But I feel like a lot of you just have like been conditioned to be very like insecure, or very like fragile, or like very receptive, because people in your life have treated you so badly and blamed it all on you and gaslit you. And I feel like that's where a lot of your resentment comes out of. And I feel like this resentment seems to translate towards like taking it out on yourself and blaming yourself, instead of blaming the people in your life that literally conditioned you to feel this way about yourself. You know what I mean? It's like, for example, you're like, oh my gosh, like I hate the way I talk, but it's like people conditioned you to talk that way, you know, like, or like, oh my gosh, I hate that I'm always apologizing, but it's like people have blamed you for constantly, like people have blamed you for things and expected you to apologize, and because of that, it's like now it's like a force of habit that has been taught to you by other people in your life, you know. And I just feel like you're a very creative soul, and you're somebody with a lot of energy, and you really do bring so much to the table in terms of like creativity, like conversation, innovation, things like that. But as a result of how people have treated you, you kind of just like stripped yourself of that identity, or kind of watered it down, because people have like treated you so badly. And I'm sensing for the vast majority of you, it's like you haven't necessarily let go of everything that you are ashamed of. I feel like there are things that you still do in your life, and things that you still like participate in, that, but the point is like you feel shame around these things. And I feel like in some aspects of your life you feel a lot of shame, or you feel embarrassment, and it's just like it's piled on to the fact that other people continue to shame you for it. And it's like, I feel like pile 3, the best way you can let go of this resentment, or start like working through it and start feeling it deeper, is like just understanding like, why are you shaming yourself? You know, like, why are you doing that? Are you shaming yourself because you yourself genuinely don't believe in it and you hate it? Or are you shaming yourself because it's a narrative that other people have enforced within you, or have beat into your head, you know? It's just like, really think about it that way, and really understand that like not all of your thoughts and feelings are truly yours, and maybe it's because you're a sensitive soul, and like other people have forced it upon you and made you feel their feelings for them. So yeah, I'm gonna get right into the tarot here. So I actually just got this tarot deck for Valentine's Day as a gift from my spouse. So shout out to him, and shout out to Capricorn Venus, because I saw this deck on their channel first. keep saying her. I have no idea what their pronouns are. Let me just stop. And I was like, wow, that deck is beautiful. And now I have it. We love that. Anyways. How can pile 3 let go resentment? Why are they resentful? How can pile 3 let go resentment? Why are they resentful? Alright, what do we have here? We have Temperance. And the bottom of the deck is 10 of Swords. Wow. Potent energy here. Okay, let's get the elephant out of the room. The 10 of Swords. It is about endings. It is about betrayal, painful endings, and literally being backstabbed. You know, finalities. That's how you say the word. Finalities. I'm just gonna say finalities. But, you know, I feel like for a lot of you, you've reached kind of like a boiling point in your life. Or maybe you've kind of reached a stage of your life. And when I say stage of your life, I think that this is something that's been going on for a pretty long time now. Depending on when this reading comes to you, you know, I'm uploading on a Friday, but it's like, it doesn't have to come to you on Friday. I feel like for a vast majority of you, when you're watching this, you will have reached a point in your life where you're kind of realizing that there's something up and that there's something about your future that really stresses you out. And there's something about how you don't want everything to be this way moving forward and how you would really rather not stress out about these things. And when I say these things, I mean like other people's opinions, what you're gonna do the next day, how you're gonna do things, what do you want to do with your life, you know? I feel like now is like a very great time to understand that like you've dealt with all the things that you need to deal with, and the only reason you still go through like turbulent situations that remind you of the past is because the situation's repeating itself, so that you can really learn to let go and to kind of move forward and balance it out. Because with the Temperance card, I feel like, you know, it's like you could be a Sagittarius, or you could have major Sagittarius placements in your chart, but I feel like that idea of, you know, like you're being pulled back like a bow and arrow, and then like once let go, it's like you'll be launched forward at high speeds. And I feel like that's happening right now, but I feel like the pulling back motion, and basically what I'm trying to say is like how far you get launched forward into the life that you want, and how much you can kind of like move forward and move away from these uncomfortable situations and feelings really depends on how much you can take a step back and kind of like let go of things, you know? And when I say let go of things, what I mean is like addressing it, being honest about it, and for once just not blaming yourself for literally everything that goes on in your life, and understanding that like how can one human be at fault for so many different things in their life, you know? Like how can one person be blamed for literally everything, some of which is like they had nothing to even do with, you know? It's like that vibe of like, how are you gonna get blamed for like not doing the dishes when you weren't even home, you know? How are you gonna get blamed for like not finishing a homework assignment when you weren't even at school that day to receive it, you know? How are you gonna get blamed for hurting someone else's feelings when you even weren't even part of the conversation? You didn't even talk to them. You don't even know them, you know? It's like, stop blaming yourself for things that like aren't your fault, and stop blaming yourself for things that like don't have anything to do with you. And it's like, even if it is your fault, you know, let's talk worst case scenario here. You mess up really bad. It's like, we're human and we make mistakes. We say and do things that are gonna hurt people and are gonna get ourselves into trouble. You know, it's like, the more you mess around, the more you learn, you know? It's like, that's just how it is. And I feel like the sooner you accept that you're just a human and that you're really doing the best that you can, the sooner you can kind of let go of this resentment towards other people in your life. Because it's kind of this concept of like, it isn't even your fault. How are you gonna, like, this resentment, I feel like you feel it towards yourself, but the reality is it's something that's been taught to you by other people because they also resent themselves, but like for actual reasons, and they projected it onto you because it's like way easier to see you suffer than to like address these feelings themselves. It's way easier for them to hold you back than to like just take their first steps, you know? It's like they would rather prevent your journey from, like, they would rather like prevent your journey from even happening than to like continue on in their journey. You know what I mean? It's just like, understand that like insecure people are just insecure, and they point out insecurities in other people that they're insecure about. And it's just like, there's nothing wrong with that, you know? Like, well, there is something wrong with that, but like, the reality is that it happens, and that we're all insecure by nature, and how we deal with it is what it comes to, you know? It's like, for example, in like high school, like I used to be really insecure about my skin. I used to be really insecure about how I dress. I used to be really insecure about everything, and I used to point it out in other people. And it's just like, I realize now, like, that's just not sustainable. And like, I literally could have just taken it upon myself and be like, hey, yo, like, why are you insecure about this stuff? Like, that's fine. Like, just work with it and just like see what happens, you know? Buy better skincare, you know? Stop using these products. Like, I wish I could go back to my high school self and be like, girl, stop using those products that your mom keeps giving you. It's not working. Anyways, I just feel like I completely went off tangent there. Pardon me, Pile 3. But what I'm trying to convey here is like, you need to understand that not everything's your fault, and that there is a certain point where people are yelling at you, or people taking things out on you that has literally nothing to do with you, you know? You're just a receptive person and somebody who really cares, and people take advantage of that because like, they're just hurt, you know? Hurt people. Like, we've all heard that, and it's very applicable in this reading. And it's just like, I feel like with this Go Deeper card here, I feel like it's speaking to the fact that it isn't about exploring these feelings at like a deeper level, and maybe for some of you it is, but I feel like for the vast majority of you, it's more about, how do I say, getting to the bottom of it and being more honest, you know, like being more realistic. Like, if everything is truly your fault, then it's like, that doesn't mean that nobody else is at fault, you know? Like, if we're gonna apply it with your logic, like, let's say in a world where literally everything is your fault, you know, everything is your fault, how is that to say that other people aren't at fault too? You know, it's like, how can it just be your fault? You're only one person. You know how impressive it would be for one person to literally be at fault for everything? That's just so unrealistic, and that is just so like incredulous, you know? Like, how is that even possible? Like, that's literally not possible. And it's like, you know, whether or not that's the case, the point is like, there would be accomplices for everything to truly be blamed on this one person, you know? It's just so rare that one person is like the center of all the problems, unless you're like one of the beauty gurus that like cause all the drama. Let's not talk about that. Let's not. But, you know, Pile 3, I feel like a lot of your resentment stems from like being blamed for things, or like blaming other people for things, or just believing that somebody needs to be blamed for negative things that happen in life, when the reality is it's not that black and white. And people blame sometimes when there's truly no one's at fault, but people blame because they want a reason for their pain. They want to take their pain out, and they want to believe that there is a specific cause, or that there's something to exact revenge upon, you know? When in reality, it's just not that realistic, and it's just like not sustainable. So Pile 3, please understand that not everything is your fault, and that you don't have to sit here and take other people's crap. We also have 9 of Cups. Beautiful card here. I feel like, honestly, Pile 3, in understanding that not everything is your fault, you will really, like, a lot of wishes and manifestations will be granted for you. Because I feel like in blaming yourself, it's just a sense of like believing that you're not worthy of good things, or that you're not worthy of things that you want, you know? And I feel like this is a deeply enforced narrative that has been taught to you. And it's just like, I feel like maybe you feel unworthy of the life you want. It's like, maybe for some of you want to be self-employed, or you want to be famous, or, you know, you want to do something like that is like, you want a job that you love, or like you want, you know, blank. It doesn't matter what it is that you want. I feel like with the 9 of Cups, there's definitely something in your life that you deeply desire, and maybe you've been shamed for wanting it, you know? And I feel like this could go pretty small. It's, you know, it's like you want the latest trendy things, and it's like people judge you for that. Or it could be as big as you want to be like an interior designer, and people are like, girl, like, is that even like a real career, you know? And it's like, it sounds crazy when someone else says it, you know? It sounds crazy when you say it out loud. Like, people are blaming me, or people getting mad at me because of things I want, you know? It's like, sorry that y'all, like, are ashamed to admit what y'all want, and so y'all decide to hate on me instead. It's like, it's just like the saying, you know, like, if people comment on your skin, or like people make fun of your acne, be like, hating on my skin and pointing out my acne will not make your skin more clear. You know what I mean, Pilot 3? It's like, really apply that logic, you know? Like, if someone's hating on you, it's probably because of something that they're dealing with. Because, like, the reality is, like, what did you even do? You know, like, ask yourself that question. Like, what did you even do? And if you can't chalk up, like, a clear, logical answer that would resonate with more, like, than just, like, your overthinking brain, like, it's probably just not true, you know? Like, if you literally told some of your closest friends, or like people you really care about how you feel in terms of like how people treat you and how you get bullied and stuff, it's like, if you do get bullied, but it's like, I feel like at this point in the reading, it's like, if it's not resonating, then like, you know. But I'm just feeling like, when I say bullied as well, I'm not saying like someone literally like pushed you into the lockers and like, I don't know, called you slurs. When I say bullying, I mean like, people have mistreated you, people have made fun of you, people probably have like judged you, or like been overly critical of you, you know? There's a difference between giving criticism and literally just being mean, you know? And it's like, people probably talked about you, people have probably like saw you as very controversial, or like tied you to controversy, and because of that they thought that their opinions were relevant, you know? And it's just like, please understand, Pilot 3, that like, other people's problems are their own problems, and if they don't want to properly communicate them to you, then it's just not your issue, because chances are you probably don't even know those people. So yeah, what else do we have here? We also have 9 of Pentacles. I feel like, okay, this is a very specific message, but I almost, because I want to say that maybe someone in your life was a narcissist, or someone in your life was like very narcissistic. That's for some of you, not all of you, because the 9 of Pentacles is about feeling yourself, but like, the way this like image came off to me at first was like giving me this feel of like someone who is overly egotistical, or somebody who's very like full of themselves, and maybe like try to control you, or try to like blame you for things, or try to like gaslight you, or like, you know, if it's like a parent, they're like, oh, like, I give you a roof over your head and stuff like that, or like, you're so ungrateful and stuff like that, you know, things like that, you know? And that's a very specific message, so it's like, if that didn't resonate, you know, apply it in how you deem as like fit, in the sense that like, you know, like, someone could have been overly egotistical in your life, or maybe you yourself, Pilot 3, have participated in being overly egotistical, or like full of yourself, because it was a defense mechanism to like, or it was just something that was taught to you, and maybe you got humbled. But that's for some of you, not all of you, if not none of you, because like, that is a really weird message. But you know, I just feel like there is a problem of ego in your life, whether it be you or other people. And I feel like people are constantly arguing with you, or causing drama with you, or just like speaking to you a specific way because of your ego. And maybe that comes from like a sense of like privilege. Maybe people have tried to hate on you and say like, oh, you're privileged, you know? Or like, people hate on you for getting the nice things, you know, like maybe you get the nice things, or you buy the nice things because you can afford them. People are like, you're so tacky, you're like, why are you always spending your money like that? And it's like, it's not my fault that you don't have the money to afford the things that you want. Like, don't hate on me for it. Like, I don't even know you. Like, stay out of my business, you know? And I just feel like it's just something that you've really dealt with for a good amount of time, of like people judging your moves, people judging you for what you want, and like you feeling like you can't have what you want because you blame yourself for everything, or like you feel like something of which is at your fault, or there's just this innate desire within your life to blame things, or for somebody or something to be constantly at fault, when the reality, it's a lot more gray than that. And I just feel like a lot of your resentment may stem from like money, or like, you know, status, or pride, or ego. And it's just like the way those things have been treated in your life, and the way you've been treated because of those things in your life, maybe have caused a lot of resentment, and even for some of you, trauma, you know? And it's just like, this reading doesn't like replace any therapy, or, you know, professional like services, just to let you know. But I'm just saying that like, I feel like for a lot of you, like, you've dealt with a lot of trauma with that That's for some of you, not all of you. If that does not resonate, makes you really uncomfortable, leave it. It's not yours. But, it's just like, understand that like you are beautiful and you are a very creative soul, and that you really have a lot going for you, because like you have an amazing attention span, and I feel like you have like you're very good at keeping up with things, and you're probably also really smart with this all knower card. You probably know a lot more than you think, and you're probably very intelligent. And it's just like you're intelligent enough to notice that like there have been repeating cycles in your life, and you clearly know that's trying to tell you something. And I feel like you should just understand that what it's trying to tell you is that like you need to stop like taking things out on yourself. You need to be nicer to yourself, and you need to be more proud of the things that you desire and what makes you happy, because those things make you happy. Do you know how many people in this world wish they knew what made them happy? Pile 3. Like if we all knew what made us happy, imagine what a better place this world would be. Like imagine if we all found like healthy coping mechanisms, or found something that just brings a smile to our face. It's like we'd all be so much better off. And you have really found the key to everything, and that is what makes you happy and what makes you feel good. And it's just like, obviously keep it in moderation. That's none of my business. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but like coming from somebody who is also a material girl, and sometimes a little bit reckless and a little bit like, ooh, let's go all in, there are times where you need to set boundaries and you need to draw lines. But that's just my word. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I feel like with this new moon in Scorpio, do understand that from here on out, and like starting probably recently, probably in the next like previous few months or next few months for you, pile 3, just know that like it's not going to be this way anymore, and that the life that you want is rightfully yours, but you need to let it go, the idea that like you don't deserve it, or that like it's your fault that you don't have it yet, or it's your fault that you will not achieve it, because that's just not true. It's already yours. It's just about claiming it. So yeah, that's all I have for you, pile 3. I hope the reading resonated. If it did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And other than that, I love you so much. Bye. Hello, pile 4. If you chose this citrine, this is going to be your reading for why you may be resentful and how you can let it go. So we have some oracle cards here to kind of get the party started. So let's get right into it. We have last quarter moon in Pisces, talk less, feel more. The one who needs to control. Very excited because I really like this reading topic, honestly. Mysterious mother. And then we have a little angel number here for a little affirmation for you. So we have number 31. Your approach to life is an effective mix of both practicality and imagination. Your mind is stirring with creative ideas, and you have the organizational skills to manifest them to life. I am disciplined. So honestly, pile 4, the first thing that came through is that some of you may hold some resentment towards like a maternal figure, or through like someone who was like you saw as a mother, or you feel like you didn't have a mother, and that's why you feel resentful. But that's for some of you, not all of you. I feel like the general consensus here is like this Piscean 12th house theme, where you feel like maybe there were figures in your life that were absent, or on the flip side, there were figures in your life that were overbearing. It feels like it's kind of one or two. It's like one or the other in terms of extremes, because I feel like that's kind of how 12th house does it. I feel like 12th house influence and like Pisces influence tends to take things a little too literally, and take things and like kind of go full throttle ahead with it and really push limits. And I feel like with the mysterious mother card, you may also have like this innate desire to be independent, or to be by yourself, or to be left alone. But with this, the one who needs to control, perhaps there are people in your life that have kind of like overbeared over you, in the sense that like they've tried to control you, they've tried to make you do something that you don't want to do, or like make you take a path in your life that you perhaps didn't want to take. And I feel like for some of you with the Pisces 12th house theme, maybe some of you struggle from like vices, or relying on things, or like being smothered. I know like a big Piscean thing and 12th house influences this desire to be alone at times. I have a 12th house sun, and I don't know about any other 12th house suns or moons. There's just a period of time where like we just want to be alone and we just want to be completely by ourselves. And not because we hate everything, but because like we get tired and we just need a moment to rest, And whether or not you have these placements that I'm talking about, I feel like that's kind of a theme in your life where there are times where you'd rather be alone and you have an innate desire to be self-sufficient and to take care of yourself, nurture yourself. But I also feel like some of your resentment may stem from people in your life because of the mysterious mother card. Perhaps a good portion of you do take good care of yourself and you're very self-sufficient. But I feel like others in your life have taken advantage of that. Maybe people come to you a lot, ask for your advice, ask for your time, your love, your money, your resources, anything like that. And I feel like there's just this theme in this reading where people tend to take from you or people tend to like exploit your giving nature. And with this, the one who needs to control, maybe there's a particular figure in your life that is just really trying to take you over or constantly trying to take your stuff or your love. But it could also be you in the sense that like maybe like you have control freak tendencies and maybe like, like you grind your teeth or something like that. Because of this figure, he's like grinding his teeth. I know like I personally grind my teeth in my sleep and I've been told and I've been given feedback on that. So, wow. But anyways, I feel like a lot of you, with this, the one who needs to control, deals with severe stress. I feel like a lot of your resentment has stemmed from like maybe manifestations not coming true or things not working out the way you would have wanted them to work out or things not coming out to play the way you wanted them to, in the sense that like things didn't go down the way you'd imagined or you didn't get something that you wanted and maybe like that has caused a lot of resentment within you. And I feel like your resentment maybe at times feels a little bit unclear to even yourself because it's like so disorienting and sometimes it's just like so all-consuming. And with this Talk Less, Feel More card, I'm sensing that there's some of it, like your resentment may get like put on the hot seat or like a flame gets lit under it because like people constantly try to make you put into words your feelings, but it's like maybe it's just like you want people to simply get it, I feel like that's what you want, pile 4. I feel like a good portion of you, if you do have Pisces or 12th house influence in your chart or even Cancer, it's just like you don't want to deal with people not understanding you and you having to filter your emotions and simplifying them when it's just like you want people to just get it. You don't want to sit here and have to explain to somebody, and it's like if maybe sometimes you feel like other people don't want to understand and or they're too lazy to understand compared to you, where you're probably so compassionate, empathetic, and it's like, girl, how come every time you talk to me, like I know exactly what to say to you, I know what you need to hear, but when it comes to me, you're just like, I need you to explain in detail, like 3.8 paragraph style, how you're feeling so I can like help you. And it's just like kind of patronizing or backhanded the way people help you, or like I feel like maybe a lot of you feel like you don't receive nearly as much as you give. And because of that, I feel like it's been a constant theme in your life or something that you've dealt with ever since childhood with this mysterious mother card, because obviously it does bring up the mother. And it's like it doesn't have to be with the mother. It doesn't have to be with a maternal figure. It could literally just be a relationship of yourself and how you mother yourself, And I feel like it's been a reoccurring theme in your life and something that you've had to deal with and something that just like really irks you and irritates you even to this day, obviously. And I also feel like people have like kind of like, how do I say, hated on you. And when I say that, I mean like they may have tried to like filter you in the way they perceive you. Like, for example, instead of taking you in as you are, they kind of simplified you. They watered you down. They stripped you of your magic, or they kind of just like, perceived you in a way that was like too logical and too earthly. And I feel like people have sometimes smothered you to a point where you don't have enough room to dream. You don't have enough room to daydream. Bring some magic and manifestation and beauty into your life, Whether that be like, it could be as simple as you aren't able to decorate your room because you don't have your own room. Or like, it's like you were meant to have this car, but this car was given away to someone else. Like your parents bought you a car, and instead of like giving it to you, like they gave it to somebody else, even though it was for you, you know what I mean? And it's just like this, like those things don't have to apply. But what I'm trying to convey here is that like there's a theme in your life where people kind of like assume that you're fine, or people kind of like push you aside, and maybe that's caused a lot of resentment, caused you to become very evasive and even controlling over those in your life, or controlling over the things that you do in your life. Maybe you've developed crazy routines, or maybe you developed a compulsive routine, or like you've just like sought after order, or like you've sought after logic and things like that, and to cling on to things that make sense, and cling on to like knowledge and like books and, you know, like physical realm type things to kind of navigate this world, when in reality, like deep down, you have like this beautiful intuition, and you have a lot of magic within you, and a lot of feelings, and a lot of like color. But it's just like, instead of using that and like expressing yourself in this creative and emotional and beautiful way, maybe you feel like people around you kind of like shut you down, or made you like beat you into like submission to be more logical, and to be more like, you know, realistic, and like limit you to like what's tangible, when in reality you could see things that like not everyone could see. And instead of like believing your hunches, they decided to just like shut you down and deny you. And because of that, I feel like this has been kind of like a generational resentment, or something that like grew over time. And I feel like this resentment isn't towards this particular person. For some of you, it could be towards like a maternal figure, through like like people that you've grown up with. But like, I feel like it also is a resentment towards just like a huge system, and how like more societal things. And I feel like it's just this kind of anger that like you may have like spent so much of your life living a way that didn't resonate with you, and because of that you feel probably like really angry or really hurt. And I feel like for some of you, it's just like, wow, like I gave up so much of my time, and like I feel like I could be so much farther along had I just done what I wanted to do in the first place. And I just feel like it's just this anger that like you've been treated incorrectly, and you've been doing things that didn't even resonate with you for so long, because like it's what was taught to you and what was set as an example for you, and because of that it's like what you naturally followed. And it's just like, why, you know, like that's maybe some of your logic at times when you think about it. It's like, why, you know, like why did this? And it's just like, maybe sometimes it can take on like more intensity, and be like, why did this happen to me? Like I wish I could go back in time, you know, things like that. But with this talk less, feel more card here, I feel like you should stop being, well, it's not that simple. But, you know, I feel like you should understand that being angry about it and trying to control all the outcomes in your life, or control what everyone thinks of you, or what everyone sees about you, and things like that. Instead of that, I feel like you should be more realistic and be understanding of yourself, because if someone else messed up, or someone else showed a very dark part of themselves or something, or like they messed up in front of hundreds of people or something, you would be accepting of them, and you would be compassionate. You'd be like, oh, like that's totally happened to me before, don't even worry, Chili. So it's like, why can't you show that compassion to yourself? And why can't you just stop being so hard on yourself, and stop being so critical of yourself? It's like, you already are so self-sufficient, you know, like you probably make your own money, you probably do something that is very like sustainable, and it's like you probably really take care of yourself. And for some of you, like you take care of yourself so well that maybe you attract people that have a lot of darkness within them, or like people that are in need, or people like a lot of beggars, you know what I mean? People that come to you wanting and not giving. And it's like not giving you in terms of the material realm, but like even emotionally, you know, it's like people keep coming into your life expecting you to give without them, like expecting you to give without them giving, you know? And it's just like, you've probably attracted a lot of one-sided relationships because of that. But yeah, let's get right into the tarot here. My stomach keeps making noises. I ate leftover pizza earlier. It wasn't the best idea, but it was good. I was there. I was happy. Anyways, I got this tarot deck as a gift for Valentine's Day from my partner. So shout out to him. And also shout out to Capricorn Venus Tarot, because they actually had this tarot deck on their channel. And I was like, wow, I really like that tarot deck, and now I have it. So yeah. Why is pile 4 resentful? How can they let it go? Why is pile 4 resentful, and how can they let it go? Why is pile 4 resentful, and how can they let it go? How can they let it go? Why are they resentful? All right, what do we have here? We have Six of Pentacles for sure. And then the bottom of the deck, we have Ace of Pentacles. Wow. So it definitely seems as if, though, with these pentacles, maybe a lot of your... I'm sensing that for some of you, a lot of it dealt with school or it dealt with work. Something more of the material realm. I initially thought it was money, but I do feel like money is a catalyst in the sense that, like, it was a huge motivation to do school or, like, to do something of the sorts, you know, like take a class, you know, like intern for something, you know. I feel like you just spent a lot of time doing something that didn't make you happy in the name of material wealth, you know, and or even approval from people in your life, or like to please yourself, even though pleasing yourself was like something that, like, yourself and what your standards were kind of like fabricated from more societal standards. And you believe, I feel like the standards you set for yourself weren't even your own true standards. And I feel like that's a lot of where your resentment comes from, because it's like, girl, like, I worked so hard only for it to not like work out the way I wanted it to. And it's just like, I wasted all that time for what? When there is just this particular path here that I could have just taken in the first place. And I do feel as if though you're very grateful for where you are right now. And I do feel as if though with the Ace of Pentacles, like, you've gotten a lot of great opportunities in your life, and you've definitely made a living for yourself, I'm sensing, with this Mysterious Mother and Ace of Pentacles card. But I also feel like there's just this sense of like, when you look at how easily this path unfolded for you, how much it worked out, it's just like, dang, y'all, like, all that time went by in a lifestyle I didn't even like, and now it's just like, this was just here, you know? But it's like, I feel like with this Six of Pentacles card here, Pile 4, do understand that it was all meant to happen, and that it was all divine timing. And obviously that's not really what the Six of Pentacles means, but I do feel as if though, when I first pulled the Six of Pentacles, what it made me think of was like, how people, like I said, people take from you and take and take and take, but they don't really give back to you. And it's like, not that you expect them to give back to you, but it's just like, with the amount that you've invested, you'd expect like a benefit or like something in it for you, and not like in a selfish way, you know. I feel like that's how relationships and anything of the sort should be, you know. It should be like mutual benefits in like a symbiosis kind of vibe, not like one person just pouring everything into the relationship while the other person like sits there and like baby mode, taking all of it, and it's just like not giving back, you know. That's so unfair and like one-sided. But I do feel like it's just this kind of like anger, because maybe people, like with this Ace of Pentacles, because you do like do better for yourself nowadays, in the sense that like you probably make enough money for yourself, you support yourself, like you're doing what you makes you happy or something of the sort, something that deals with schooling, money, career, finances, and like, you know, like community. I feel like because of the space you're in now, people probably try to leech off of you, or people try to like take from you, you know, like people try to like copy you or like, you know, do what you're doing. And it's just like, come on, y'all, like, you're like, I worked so hard for this, and I like worked through so much trauma and pain, only for y'all to just take from me as and put your name on it as if like you did all the work that I did. And it's just like this sense of like, girl, GTFO. And I feel like for some of you, it's just like kind of like frustrating. And maybe that's where a lot of your resentment has stemming from lately. And I feel like you've done a great job of like letting go of resentment and kind of like, you know, just moving along with your life. But I also feel like it's just something that you can't shake at times, and it's something that gets very overwhelming, something that probably really angers you, and something that like, I don't know, it's just like this reoccurring thought, or it's just like when you see things that remind you of this particular topic in terms of like people taking from you, stealing from you, or like copying you, it's just like very frustrating, because it's like, come on. And it's just like, I feel like there's a difference between someone taking inspiration from you and just blatantly trying to be you or like copy you, you know? You know, it's like, it's just this sense of like, wow, like, I developed my own fashion sense, or like you created, like for example, like you created like this new face serum and it like cures acne, and then like a bunch of people are like, and they just like blatantly copy your product and take from you and try to like sell it on their own accord to like make money, but it's just like not as good as yours. And it's just like, come on, dude, like you're literally impersonating me, you're using my name to benefit yourself at a material level when it's just like you didn't put in the hard work that I put into creating this serum, you know? It's like obviously it's not the serum, but it's like what I'm trying to say is that you probably created something beautiful for yourself and like inspired so many people, yet there are still people that would rather just take from you and like copy you instead of take the inspiration for themselves. And I feel like that's what the Six of Pentacles is talking about, in the sense that there at times maybe when your balance is disturbed in terms of how much you give and how much you get back, it's like when that is disturbed, I feel like you get very resentful and very angry because you've worked so hard to get to where you want to be. And I feel like because of that, there's something to unpack there in terms of how you got to where you are now. And it's like, I feel like you shouldn't constantly feel the need to prove yourself. You shouldn't constantly feel the need to like separate yourself or like distinguish yourself against people who are copying you, because like, it's just like, how are you going to copy with someone that isn't even you, you know, like, or not, like, how are you going to compete with someone that isn't even you, you know, how are you going to try to protect yourself and things like that? It's just like, the reality is like, your customers will come to you, and you're not responsible for other people's ignorance, you know, and other people like not being fully educated or fully like, you know, well met around, you know. It's like, I hate to say it because I feel like it sounds harsh, but at the same time, I feel like there is a point where it's disturbing your peace, and that's just not fair to you, because it's not your like situation or your business to constantly police something or to constantly look at something or to kind of obsess over situations, because the reality of it is that you really can't get through to everybody. That's just the reality, pile 4. Like, you can't get through to everybody sometimes, but all that matters is that you get through to yourself. And what I mean by that is like being real with yourself and understanding that like you are trying your best and that you will attract the people that you need and attract the situations that you need, and people who get lost on their way to you, that's just not your fault. And it's just like, it's not their fault either, it's just the circumstances. And I feel like you should understand that's where the gray lies, in the sense that the circumstances are sometimes going to suck, but we're all going to learn from it, and everyone will get their karma in the end. Let's see here. We also have 9 of Pentacles. Ooh, with the 9 of Pentacles, I feel like some of you have been looking good, pile 4. And I definitely do feel as if though that's why people have been trying to impersonate you. Or it's like, maybe some of you like cut off people or like got rid of people, and or like people got rid of you, and then like now you're like out here looking fire and you're out here looking done up, and people are like, hi pile 4, like how have you been? And you're like, girl, like where were you when I was like struggling and I literally was just like not, I was just not, like there's no that's just it, like I was just not, you know. And what I mean by that is I keep thinking of this quote that I read somewhere on Instagram, but it was like, the space that you keep from me during my struggles, I'm gonna need you to double it during my success. And I feel like that's kind of the vibe I'm picking up here, in the sense that like you really just aren't tolerant of people that are trying to make like their grand entrance back into your life just because they see that you're out here making monies, looking cute, like doing the goody goods, you know, like you're out here, you're like, oh, like yeah, like I work from home, I have my dream job, and I finish school, and I don't work a job I hate, and I also buy whatever I want, you know, like whatever the case is, it's just like you've reached a point in your life where you feel comfortable, you feel secure within yourself. But I feel like the resentment comes up when people try to take that away from you. I feel like maybe you're a little bit possessive when it comes to that, or people try to like, you know, take advantage or capitalize on you. And I feel like that's very frustrating, because maybe it isn't that it directly affects you, but maybe it kind of affects people in your life. I feel like maybe by people trying to copy you or people trying to like be you or something like that. That's what I'm feeling here. I feel like that maybe affects people you really care about, and maybe like you're just like, girl, don't do that. Don't hurt and take from the people that I care about. And I just want you to know, pile 4, the people that you care about are capable of defending themselves, and you don't have to be like a human shield for all of these people in your life. Or you don't have to like constantly feel the need that other people are your responsibility, you know, other people and their resources and things like that. I'm sensing that like maybe you do like YouTube, or like you do like maybe you're like you own your own business or something like that. Or I just feel like a lot of you are like entrepreneurs or like self-employed or something like that, and people try to copy you, or people try to impersonate you, people try to take from you. But like, even if that isn't the case, you know, it's like, I feel like maybe you like work a very popular, or you work a very good job, or like people are trying to like copy that, you know, like something about you people are trying to copy. Or if not that, people are trying to like get back into your life so that they can leech off of your goodies, you know, in terms of like money, time, love, like self clarity. You know, people are trying to leech from that, you know, and it doesn't have to be just like this money and stuff that I keep talking about. It could be in whatever way that you deem as fit. It just seems as if though people are trying to take advantage of you, or people are trying to get back into your life so that they can like be parasitic AF and like leech off of your stuff. And you're just like, leave me alone. And I feel like because of that, resentment has stemmed because maybe you've become a little bit mistrustful of whether or not people want something from you, or if they genuinely just want to be around you for you. And it's just like, it's clearly affected your quality of life in some way, pile 4. And I just want you to know that like, you don't have to constantly obsess over it. You don't have to constantly like, it doesn't have to be the first thing you think of when you wake up and the last thing you think of before you go to sleep, you know. That's just not healthy. And you need to understand that other people are responsible for their own opinions, and that they are very much just as conscious as you are. And if they don't want to educate themselves and they want to be ignorant and careless, then that is not your problem, even if you care about them. Because the reality of it is they have to learn their lesson at some point, because you can't constantly be out here taking care of them, because they simply will not learn if you're spoon feeding them. Last card we have here, 10 of Pentacles. Wow, so we have all Pentacles cards here, and it's interesting because we have the 9 of Pentacles, then the 10 of Pentacles. So I feel like for a vast majority of you, like you have reached a very great state in your life. Like you've, maybe some of you even bought your own house, bought your own apartment, you know, like bought your own stuff, you know, like I'm just sensing that a lot of your resentment stems from like the material world or community based things. And I feel like the way you can let it go is giving yourself a break, being easy on yourself, and knowing that you're also human and that you can only do so much to care for the people around you. And there's a certain point where that you need to care for yourself the same way that you care for others, and protecting yourself the way you'd protect others, you know, pile 4. And I just feel like because of this innate need to defend others, or like, you know, constantly stick up for others, or like, you know, like be out there and, you know, doing your best, it's like you've become very controlling, and you've become obsessed with your image and obsessed with how you get yourself out there and how you portray yourself. And I feel like this is definitely like a deeper issue, not issue, like something that was like taught to you at a very young age. It could be a maternal figure, like I said. I feel like maybe some of you do resent like a maternal figure or like a woman in your life. And I just want you to know, pile 4, like that should probably be addressed. And I feel like you should look at it in a way that's like, okay, like now that I've gotten to a comfortable state in my life, what is it about this? Like, why did I do this? You know, why was this the ultimate goal? You know, ask yourself, why is it that you've gotten to the place that you want to be? Like, ask, why is this the place that you want it to be? And not to like get all existential and be like, girl, like I'm questioning everything about my life, but more in the sense of like, this is where you wanted to be so bad. So it's like, why is it so stressful, you know? And not because like more, obviously like there is a point where like dreams are work, and like doing what you want is a lot of work. But I also feel like there's a certain point where it's just like, girl, like why this is even more stressful than being on the hustle, you know, being on the grind, you know? So it's like, ask yourself that question, pile 4, and be more realistic and just let yourself feel it, you know? Stop trying to explain yourself, stop trying to vocalize yourself and get your thoughts out there, or like get your feelings out there for other people to digest, because if they don't get it, they don't. Like literally you need to live by the, if you know, you know, if you don't, you don't. And it's just like, your feelings are precious and your feelings are very innocent, and something that like can't really be put into like a logical point of view to be analyzed. There's just a certain point where feelings are just feelings, and if other people don't empathize with it, or if other people don't pick up on it, then they just simply do not get it. And it's not your problem, and it's not your business to force them to understand, you know? It's like, I'm feeling for some of you, you've gotten to a more comfortable place, but you're still not like satisfied, and you're just like still being overly controlling, and you're like, why is that, you know? And it's like, if someone else just doesn't get it from the get-go, then they simply will not get it. And like explaining yourself will only like ferment your like resentment and anger, or like at least feelings of like being done incorrectly, you know? So yeah, Just let yourself feel, be more fluid, and let the people that understand and empathize with you just come to you instead of you chasing after them or like, like seeking them out, Those people are already in your life. You just need to make room for them. And the way you can make room for them and the way you can make room for more compassion, more understanding, more acceptance, and more clarity in your life is by knowing that like where you are right now is just like, you need to ask like, why did I want to be here? And once you answer that question to yourself more truthfully, I feel like that's when better things will come into your life, and that's when you'll attract better things. Because it's like, I feel like without that, like, and I feel like that's kind of like, it's kind of confusing to say. And honestly, I feel like it once again boils down to the whole just feel it, I feel like I can't put it into words because like you literally just know what I'm saying, pile 4. And I feel like that's been like half the problem. So yeah, just understand that like what you crave right now and what you desire and the things that you desire for others in your life is simply coming to you all and you, but you need to make room for it. And the way you can make room for it is by stop obsessively trying to control different outcomes and different scenarios in your life. And that will really help you let go of some resentment, because I feel like your resentment is pretty short-lived and pretty recent, because I do feel it as though you've done a lot of hard work on yourself in terms of like your emotional health. So yeah, that's all I have for you, pile 4. Thank you so much for listening and letting me read for you. If the reading resonated, please like, comment, and subscribe. I freaking love this reading topic. You're my last pile, and I'm so happy that I filmed this video because it was so much fun. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I love you. Bye.